Hi everyone, James from Favro here. Today we'll talk about charts, an understated yet incredibly useful feature of Favro. We'll begin with burndown charts. The burndown chart displays the number of cards that need to be completed versus time, showing you an estimation for when all cards on a board will be completed based on your team's velocity over the past 3 days. The burndown chart is a powerful tool used by teams working in sprints or in short projects with clear deadlines. These teams aim to complete all cards on the board within 2 to 4 weeks, depending on the size of the team, so they want to predict if they'll finish on time. Once your sprint team has decided how much work they'll take on during a sprint planning, all cards for that upcoming sprint are pulled from the planning backlog to the team board, and this action will create a burn up. So now let's go and take a look at the burndown chart. If you don't have a chart already, just go to the view switcher and then add view. And from there select chart and then use this drop down to choose which kind you like. Obviously in this case we'd like a burndown chart. And the burndown chart menu allows you to set a date range and select what to burn by. During the sprint, team members assign cards to themselves and pull them forward through the columns once they have capacity to do so. So as cards are completed and reach the rightmost column, in this case complete, the chart will start trending downwards, and this is what you want. Now we'll go back to the burndown chart again. So if you'd like, you can even add an ideal burndown line if you just check this box. And now we see this thin green line slowly trending downwards toward the end of the chart. It basically just shows how fast you would work in an ideal world in order to complete all cards before the sprint ends or before the project is due. You can compare the ideal line, the green one, with the predicted line, the red dotted one we can see here, or orange, to see if you're on the right track. So in this case my data's kind of skewed, but in an ideal world this blue block would start up here and then trend downwards over time, over the course of a couple of weeks. Now let's move on to cumulative flowcharts. This flowchart enables you to see if you have too many cards coming in with enough going out, basically how efficient your current workflow is. Are too many things coming in with enough going out? Are you beginning work on a lot of cards but not necessarily finishing them? You can check the steepness of the line for the input or first column versus the steepness of the line for the output or the last column. So in this case the first column would be this bright blue to do column, and then the output would be this dark teal released publicly column, which has very little cards in it right now and is potentially a sign of a problem. So now we're comparing the arrival rate, how fast cards are added to your board, to your departure rate, how fast cards are completed. If the arrival rate is steeper than your departure rate, then the team is overwhelmed. They're basically taking on too much at once, which in this case we are, as our output is drastically low compared to the input level. The card limits need to be decreased, which we'll touch on in just a second. If your departure rate is steeper than your arrival rate, then you're underutilized as a team and card limits should actually be increased. Cumulative flowcharts utilize card limits, also known as WIP, work in progress limits, because they're a powerful way to ensure work moves smoothly through your Favro boards. If a column has too many cards, it will result in a bottleneck. A great rule of thumb for setting initial card limits at each stage is to take the number of team members responsible for that stage and subtract just one. You can set card limits for each column if you just go to the ellipsis dots and set card limit. Simple as that. Next up, control charts are all about keeping work flowing, more specifically how your efficiency has fluctuated over time. Toggle on timing column for your cards so you can see how long the cards spend in each column or stage in your workflow. And here's how you do it. If you just go to the eye icon at the top, and now you'll see time on board and timing column. So if these numbers are high compared to the norm, it means that for some reason cards are stuck in a particular column longer than expected, and you should investigate this. When a card's moved forward to the next column, the number is set to 0. So try enabling time on board to see more generally how long your cards spend in progress. So let's take a closer look at an actual control chart. You can use the control chart to analyze your team's performance, measure how a process change has impacted your team's productivity, or to identify and solve bottlenecks as they occur. You'll find the control chart by opening the View switcher, and then Add View. Then from there you just click Chart, and now you're free to select from the range of Favro's charts. The chart shows the time on board as elapsed days on the vertical axis and the days on the horizontal axis. The red line shows you the rolling average and standard deviation for the completed cards to travel through the board, i.e. time on board. Every blue dot represents a completed card. In this example, the data shows that the average time for completing a card has steadily increased. You can even hover above the outliers to see exactly at what stage the process was slowing down. Now you know the causes, you can act upon this information and prevent it from happening in the future. Frequently keeping an eye on these two metrics will help you identify bottlenecks and solve them to keep work flowing. The control chart allows you to view the team's performance in a retrospective and dig into the causes of bottlenecks to help you continuously improve your process. And there we have it, Favro's charts, the key to unlocking true performance-driven data. Enjoy!